If you guys have been here before and you're like, man, this is a completely new layout. This is not no reps from what I'm used to having. We know. Okay. Roof Force. We're going to get into this. We're going to get a lot deeper. We're going to have a lot more, I'll say, valuable content that's going to allow us to be able to help you guys understand exactly why we're losing deals, exactly how you guys are going to defeat the Reaper, which ties into the 5 fatalities. If you guys don't know about it, you will by the end of this. And ultimately, what you guys are going to learn about today is the gap test, which is a very, very powerful way for you guys to be able to, I'll say, even self-audit, right? Right, David? Self-audit? You want to audit with a partner, someone else that's in there, game on. But this is how you guys are going to win more deals. This is how you guys are going to become more valuable to your customers. And yeah, it's going to be fun. So I'm going to give 30 seconds and then we're rolling. So welcome, everybody. We got details in here. So technically Vince Lombardi said, if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. If you're late, don't even bother showing up. You know what? And that would come from the individual who said that. So I stand corrected, and you guys understand that my quotes are not registered trademark quotes. I steal them, I butcher them, and you guys get what you get. But I'm pretty sure you know that because you showed up. Yeah. All right. Let's roll. Let's roll. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I truly appreciate everybody who shows up because that means that you guys are taking 60 minutes to be able to work on your business, which means whatever you guys are doing, hopefully you're taking the time. My goal for you guys is to be able to take one thing, just one thing, and take it and use it in the field. I'll say this throughout the entire series, which is 9, I think, at this point right now. If you keep doing the same exact thing that you're doing right now and you expect something to change, some type of different outcome than what you've had for the last day, week, month, year, or whatever it is, definition of insanity, guys. You have to do something to get some type of different result. And that is why David and I are showing up today and why we are here again, continuing to be able to drill down, get you guys new content and make sure that you guys are relating to what we're saying because it works. It works because I've been there. I know that. My name is Chad Westbrook, and I am the founder of Service Alignment. If you guys haven't checked it out, go check it out because it's the reason I'm here. I'm here to be able to raise the floor of the commercial roofing industry, which means I'm here to be able to make everybody better. I've spent the last 15, 18 years of my life working for some of the largest commercial roofing contractors inside the United States. And it came to the point that I realized that I love growing and building more than I love managing multi-million-dollar divisions. And I don't say that with an ego. I say that because I have the experience. I've done it. I've built it. And at the end of the day, guys, this is the stuff I love. Well over $500 million within commercial sales. I've led some of the largest service agreement initiatives across the United States. And I've done it with some of the highest profit margins that there are certain companies that are like, there's no way you can have a gross profit margin that high and still have value. And it's absolute false. I'll show you guys how to do it. We'll go through all of that and continue to be able to build it. But I'm here to be able to make this industry better, guys. So thank you for showing up. And yeah, David, you want to talk a little bit about yourself, good sir?
Hey guys, I've been in the commercial roofing industry for about 8 years now. It was one of the very first clients that I took on after I left the startup world, the VC-backed startup world, where you have venture capitalists pouring in a ton of money. Those of you that have been here before have heard me say the spiel all the time, but they expect huge returns and they create absolute hell. But if you guys have ever heard the saying, if you put something under enough pressure, whatever, it turns into a diamond. It is real. The stuff that you figure out is unbelievable when you're forced to, when you're put up against the wall and the people that you care about's jobs are on the line. So my goal was, when I went out on my own, was to take those strategies and give them to the typical business, the average business. And when we started installing this stuff in the commercial roofing industry, it worked extremely well. And then Chad and I met about 5 years ago. We started working together and we started implementing this stuff that he had saw that I had seen. And we were really able to take things to the next level. So that's what we're going to go through, guys. We can give you guys all the stats. We can give you guys all the numbers. We're going to give you guys the social proof on this stuff, just so you guys understand that what we're talking about has been tested. But that's the thing that we want you to truly understand. This isn't theory. We're actively working this stuff with our existing clients, with our existing reps. We're in the weeds. We're doing one-on-ones every single week. We're not just here to be preachy. We're here to give you guys what is actually working and getting to the highest levels of success. So it's up to you to take it and put it into action.
Right. The part that I'll say that I love about all of this, guys, is that I'm not here to be able to follow corporate standards. I'm not here to be able to sugarcoat wherever it is. I'm here to be able to make this fun. So we all actually want to show up and be a part of this. And at the same point, be the best possible version of you guys, right? Fight for the highest or greatest good for our customers. And if you guys haven't met the sales reaper yet, this is at the basis of every single job that you lose. There's a reason that you lose jobs, and there's a reason that you lose more jobs than you win. Okay. And we're going to explain what that looks like. But this is fun. We want you guys to be a part of this. We want you guys to be active inside the chat. So when we talk about the sales reaper, this stuff is real, guys. You guys are losing jobs every single day, every single week, every single month, because there are checkpoints and there are processes that you guys have not followed. If you don't show up to a meeting and instantly know the first question you ask every single time, you guys are hoping, okay, hoping that it's going to go the right way, hoping that your customer has a problem, hoping that your customer has a goal, and that it comes out at some point during a conversation that isn't structured. Okay, I'm saying all of that because I'm going to be direct, and I'm going to tell you guys the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting something different. You know what the opposite side of that is knowing what you're doing and why it works. Okay, when I go into a meeting, I don't all of a sudden think of the first question I'm going to ask when I walk inside the door. I know exactly why I'm asking the question and what I'm looking to get out of it to provide value for my customer. And that's what you guys are going to get out of this. That's how we're going to be able to continue to build it. And we're going to make it a fun, enjoyable environment. So please get in the chat, give some feedback if you like it, if you don't like it, if you challenge it. I don't care, guys. I'm here to have a good time, and I'm here to be able to teach you guys how I build multi-million-dollar businesses, service, replacement, private negotiated. That's what I'm here for. Now, part of that is going through kind of what I've done. And I'm not here just to tell you guys about some, hey, I think I did this. This sounds like a great idea. I'm stealing this from some other industry and bringing it over. I ran this inside every part of the business. You talk about a single metro, a $15 million company. I was there. I've done it. I've ran it. I was chief revenue officer for 2.5 years. And I grew service from $700,000 to almost $3 million, not including the capital that came from it. We talked about the regional side as well. Right? 7 different branches. I opened up those service divisions, started from 0 and started with 1 truck, and I grew it to a little less than $4 million of reoccurring service that was happening and feeding into the private capital side. And then the finally side that I'll talk to you guys about is the national side. I was a part of ultimately the Texan side here, guys. That's not me. But I was a part of a branch that ultimately had, when I started, I want to say 10 branches. When I ended, there was 18. We opened up new branches based upon the growth that we had. We started out at about 90 million. It's $140 million. And that national account division is still operating, still servicing probably the locations that are in your town. And it's worth over $20 million. And they're consistently growing. That's success, guys, is knowing exactly what you're doing, that when I stepped out and took my own adventure to be able to give back to the industry, they're still growing. They're still getting bigger. They're still doing exactly what their method and process and vision was. That's the coolest part. And I tell you guys this, not to be able to say, hey, I've overseen 140. I've been a part of a $140 million corporation. I'm telling you that every time that you guys show up to an opportunity that is an individual, I don't want to say opportunity again, but whatever word, right? An individual, I can't think of another word. I'm going to use opportunity again. So be it. Where you guys can make a difference. Every customer that you walk in that has a problem, you guys have the ability to be able to give them a unique solution that makes you different. And you say unique again, I'm sorry, but it allows you guys to be different. It allows you guys, I don't care if it's a suit and tie Cinemark showing up to be able to sell something, or if you're going against somebody inside your territory that's 3 times the size of you. I'm going to be straightforward. Nobody cares. They care about the problem they have and how well you guys can solve their problem, or how well you guys can get them to their goal. And it doesn't take a billion-dollar company to be able to get there. Most of the time, that billion-dollar company couldn't turn around if they tried, because it'd take them 10 years. You guys have the ability to be David and Goliath. I don't care how big the company is. You guys have the ability to ask the right questions, to understand the problem that they're actually solving that's going to get them the greatest return. And we're going to talk about that. But I always like going through the David and Goliath side, because do not ever downplay yourself because there's a company that's bigger. There's a company that has more trucks. There's a company that has more crews. There's a company that has something that you guys have. I have never once thought that, or even came into a mindset when I only had one employee, maybe even not one employee, inside a brand new territory with millions of people. And I was the one that was there and had to start a business. I was the one that had to put 1 truck inside place, 2 trucks inside place, 3 trucks in place. And I was the individual that was sitting next to the people in suit and ties, and I was winning it. And guess what, guys? I had 1 truck. I had 1 truck in that area, but I knew how to solve that problem to where they awarded 750 locations across the entire United States to me, because I was able to solve that problem better. Do not ever downplay yourself to anybody else inside the industry because there's someone bigger than you, or someone who has done something other than you guys. That's the power that you guys need to have, and that's the confidence that I hope that you guys are going to get from this. Everybody got that? It's a huge part that you guys need to have. There's 2 parts to this that we talk about. One is the 8-figure service division. David, go. Sorry.
Yeah, let me just jam on. We're going to buzz through this stuff, guys. So the reason why Chad's running through all this stuff is just so that you guys have an understanding. It doesn't matter what area of growth that you guys are at right now. Take your company, figure out how much service revenue you guys are doing, pick your bucket, pick your stage.
Yep.
We've worked with all of them. We're currently working with companies that are in each one of these, all the way up to the $10 million plus. It doesn't matter. We've seen it happen at every single level. And when you're working at every single level, that's where you have a peek underneath and you see what's actually going on. It doesn't matter how big you guys are. You can win every single job if you're just approaching
There's
your opportunity effective.
There's 2 types of clients that we're targeting. Okay. 2 types of clients that we're bringing information for you guys, that if you're here, you're in the right spot. Number 1 is owners. Owners, there is a path to growth, and there is a way that you grow, and we'll show you what that path is. Number 2 is the sales reps. And when we start jumping through sales reps, that's the individuals, that's you guys here that are creating these individual solutions for your customers. And we call it the 7-figure sales rep, service sales rep, because it allows you guys to be able to create better, more strengthened relationships that allow you guys to be able to grow that private negotiated side, to be able to grow the service and replacement side. And that's how you feed into the 8-figure service division. That's how you grow into the multi-million-dollar sales reps, or ultimately what we consider the 7-figure sales rep. You guys are not a 7-figure sales rep. There's a path to be able to get there, and we're going to show you what that path is like. But it all starts with the 5 fatalities, guys. It all starts on understanding why you're losing more deals than you're winning. Okay, think about that. And as David, as you kind of jump into this, I'd like you to take this, man, because you do an amazing job at it. You guys are losing more jobs than you're winning, which means you have more of an opportunity to learn from the jobs that you are not getting, on what went wrong or what fatality came in and killed that deal, that we can prevent it from happening again, which will automatically and naturally increase the amount of jobs that you're closing and the amount of jobs you're winning. You want to take us through 5 fatalities, sir?
Yeah. So guys, when we talk through the 5 fatalities, the main thing that we want you to understand is that if we can understand the reason why your deals are dying, then and only then can you prevent it. Okay. This is a big deal. I need you guys to really understand that. If you don't know why your deals are dying, how are you ever going to prevent it? Well, if we're not trying to prevent it, what are we doing? Well, we know what we're doing, guys. You guys are just waiting for those good leads to hit your calendar from the call center, or you're waiting for the right drop that you do, where it's the absolute hot prospect that needs to buy. Guys, that's a game of chance. That stuff is not going to work at all. It's never going to work. You're always going to be in a position of creating results that are only good, that are only as good as the environment that you're working in. Okay. And that is not an environment set up for success. That is not an environment that is going to allow you to become a 7-figure sales rep. So when we can figure out these are the 5 reasons why our deals are dying, then we can work to prevent it. Okay. Now, why do we say prevent it? The number of one-on-ones that we will go into, especially early on as reps are getting into our programs, and we're having deal review, and reps will ask us questions like, hey, I've already delivered the proposal. They said they were going to go by the end of May, and now they won't respond back to my emails. David, Chad, what do I do? I don't know. You have no power left. You're completely out of the equation. There is nothing you can now do reactively to try to save this deal. You're in a position of now reacting to whatever fate has already sown itself for the most part. When you don't understand who the decision makers are, when you don't understand who the competition is, when you don't have all of this already figured out and you've proactively strategized against it in the sales process, and then you're just finding out at the end and you think that there's some silver bullet or some magical email that me and Chad are going to give you, or some magical script one-liner that's going to get you back in the deal, you're wrong. It doesn't exist, guys. So the only way for you guys to prevent the 5 fatalities from actually killing your deals is to proactively keep them from killing your deals. Just like when you find out, I've got heart disease that runs in my family. What do I need to do to prevent dying from a heart attack? I have cancer, skin cancer in my family. What do I do to prevent getting cancer? You don't wait to get cancer and then say, what do I do, if you already know that this is one of the things that could kill you, statistically speaking? We operate our lives this way, guys. Why aren't we operating from a sales pipeline perspective this way? It only makes sense for us to. So we're going to take you guys through the 5 fatalities real quick so you guys understand what each one of them are. All right. The first one is timing, guys. Timing is a belief that it's not the right time to invest or that other priorities take precedence. This is by far the biggest killer. Okay. Whatever thing is killing the most human beings, this is the thing killing most of the deals out there. We have the stats, we have the technology, we've got 45, the app that we give you guys to run through that keeps all the data there. We actually track this. Timing is the number 1 killer, guys. And that was the urgency session that we had last week. When you proactively establish why they need to do this now, that keeps timing from getting in the way and killing your deal. Okay, the next one is competition. This is a perceived superiority of another's option speed, pricing, or solution options. Most of the time, the competition is internal, guys. For service, it's their existing maintenance team. It's the people that they're already paying money to that just go up there. And I heard this the other day. We just throw Flex Seal on everything. Yeah, Chad, they're too cheap, man. They just tell us to go buy some Flex Seal, and we just go up there and we Flex Seal everything. And you're like, what? Right? Little patch up.
Yeah,
right? So it's your team, or it's their existing vendor, guys. And especially in the service world, if that vendor was doing a spectacular job, they wouldn't be talking to you. So why are those existing resources not working? You have to be able to establish who the competition is and understand why they haven't been able to solve the problem. Next one is price. Price is when a prospect feels like your offering is too expensive or beyond their budget. Feel is the critical word. We like facts, not feelings. This is going to cost them money, guys. The roof is going to cost them money, whether it's in production, productivity of their team, equipment, or product, or a slip fall hazard. Or if the roof just gets worse and they have to go underneath the deck during the re-roof, and it becomes a way bigger issue than it was before if they just would have taken care of it. Either way, if you allow them to go on their feelings, if you don't price anchor, if you don't execute on the things that we talk about, they're going to feel like your stuff is too expensive. Nobody wants to spend money on the roof, guys. But they're going to either way, in some way, shape, or form, and we have to be able to give them that the clarity in that choice. The next one is trust. Trust is a skepticism about the salesperson or the company's credibility. It doesn't matter that you guys have been around 30 years. It doesn't matter that you guys have been around for 10 years and you have such and such rating. They don't know any of that. What matters is, can you solve the problems that I have? Have you helped people going through the things that I've gone through? Trust. That's the big deal. You go on Amazon to look for a product, you look at the reviews because it gives you trust. If you don't proactively allow them to see why they should trust you, trust is going to get is going to kill your deal. Last one is product fit. Your offering doesn't meet their perceived needs or solve their problems. And this is either because you guys haven't clearly established that you're best in class to be able to solve this, or you haven't aligned what the actual bigger problems are to what it is that you guys specialize in. But all of this stuff is formulaic, guys. Okay? All of it is formulaic. And I mean, Chad, what, if we're running through this program 25, I mean, you guys should be doing upwards of 300 quotes a year on the repair side. Guys, 5 reasons. However many of those die, they're going to die for one of the 5 reasons here. That's it. That's it. Go ahead, Chad.
There's so much to unpack with this, guys. And sometimes I have to hold myself back from speaking. But if you're wondering about the 5 fatalities, we're going to go through each one of these in depth as we get further down, right? On what does this look like, right? How does this fatality come up? Because there's so much stuff that goes into play, right? So we talk about timing. And for me, on the timing side, guys, this is every proposal that you have delivered that you don't have an answer from your customer. If you don't have a commitment date, the date that your customer is going to make a decision, timing is constantly creeping behind you, going to kill that deal, including the ones that you quoted 3 months ago that the client hasn't responded back to you, or they keep saying, yeah, no, I should know something soon. That's all coming into play, guys. There's a reason. There's stuff that we can find here. And as we go deeper, right, deeper into what we're going to go through today, which is the gap test, right? Do they actually have a need for you? Or are you just there putting in another bid? Are you just there, right, wasting your time, sorry to be direct, to where there is no actual need for it? So you know what time it is, right, guys? We're going into it. We got a new video. And I would love to have feedback from you guys. Put the video or put the comments on the videos, put it inside chat. Because as we build these, we're building these for two things. 1, fun. And 2, this is real. This is real. This is what we're really dealing with, guys. So as we put it together, enjoy. Whoa, do you guys got
I thought our maintenance team and the roofing company we've been using for years could handle it. But the leaks kept coming back, and the costs kept rising. Now we need a completely new roof. How can I afford this?
I knew the problems were serious, but every time I suggested bringing in a specialist, clients hesitated. They were loyal to their current providers, even as their problems got worse. How could I convince them otherwise?
In the unforgiving landscape of commercial roofing, lack of skill and unreliable service is all too common. Knowing when to seek outside help is crucial to preventing disaster.
The sales reaper counts on overconfidence and underestimation. His plan is simple: make building owners believe their existing resources can handle the problem. But the truth? Most internal teams, and even existing roof repair companies, lack the skills needed to address these complex issues.
The sales reaper thrives on this false sense of security. By undermining leak repairs, he ensures the problems worsen, leading to complete roof failures.
The gap test is our tool to determine the need for outside help. Do the current team and the existing roof repair company have the experience and capabilities to resolve these issues effectively?
When the limitations are clear and the need for specialized help is undeniable, we can move past checkpoint 2 and figure out the right solution.
Every single rep must discover if the existing resources are insufficient and disqualify those that don't need new help, so they can focus on those who truly need their expertise.
Don't let the sales reaper win. Identify the gap in their current resources, bring in the right help, and take the first step towards a lasting relationship.
We have yet another proposal dead on arrival.
All right, guys. So as we go through this, we're going to be talking about the gap test. We talked about the urgency test last week, right? Is the problem big enough that they actually need to do something? That's the first checkbox that we have to figure out, because you can have stained ceiling tiles, you can have water on the floor, you can have leaks everywhere, and it doesn't mean that the customer's actually going to spend money to change their environment. And if you're not checking that box, the first thing that you guys are doing is you're wasting your time, your energy, possibly you or definitely your company's money, proceeding inside what you see, right, as a problem that your customer might not see. We always say our customer's perception, right? We have to understand what their perception is, right? Their perception is reality. That's a huge part of understanding this. It's not what the roof is like. It's not about getting on the roof and just understanding the deficiencies that are up there. You guys have to understand what's their environment. That's what we're going to be going through today inside what we call the gap test. You want to take us through this, Dave?
Yeah, I think the key thing on there, guys, if you guys saw, I mean, the whole key to this is, you know, with the fire that was going on in the background, everything else, I mean, because that's what ends up happening. Our prospects, their world ends up on freaking fire when they keep going back to the same well, thinking they're finally going to get water. When they go back to the same solution and they think it's actually going to get fixed, and it doesn't. And it doesn't. And your company could have helped them prevent it. And then ultimately they have a re-roof that they have to go do way before they should have. They could have extended the life of their roof if they just were working with the right roofing company, or if they were working with any roofing company at all instead of using Flex Seal, right? But this is what's at stake. On one side of it, when you guys don't when you guys don't have the right conversations and help assess the gap in their existing resources and why they haven't been able to solve their problem and achieve their goal, you're allowing them to fall into that. You're allowing them to succumb to that outcome. And we, like Chad said earlier, we need to fight for the highest possible good in all of the people that we serve. Every single prospect, we need to fight for their highest possible good. And fight is where the tenacity comes from. Their highest possible good is where the selflessness comes from. That's the balance that we want. We want tenacity and selflessness as we're going through this.
Here's my question for you guys. As you're putting together all of these proposals, right, and you guys are getting ready to deliver them, is your customer, right, prospect, candidate, whatever you want to call it, are they shopping your proposal? If we're not asking the right question, if we're not figuring out, do they actually have a gap that your solution can fill? Or do they already have somebody that they use and they just need 3 bids to be able to award the project? Do they already have somebody that they use and they've used them for 5-10 years and they just need your proposal to make sure that his price is competitive? If we're not asking these questions and we're not figuring out what the gap is, or why are we even sitting down in the chair, we're going to be ultimately at the fate of one of the 5 fatalities. 100% absolutely true. This is checkbox 2, right? And we have to understand our buyer's intent. This is huge. This is not about us. This is not about us selling anything. We talk about the trusted advisor sitting on the same side of the table because we're going to help them make a decision that solves their problem or gets them to the goal that they want to be. Nobody cares about you. Nobody cares about your roofing company or anything else. They care about the problems that they have. And that's the first thing that we have to get through, is that our buyer's intent is that they intend to find the best solution to solve the actual problems, causing them enough problems, enough pain that's keeping them from what they really want to do, the most important outcomes for what they want to be. Trust me, the individuals that you're working with, 99.9% of the individuals that you're working with, they are not employed to fix roof leaks. That is a problem that is keeping them from something that they actually need to do. It's keeping them from what they actually want to do. Their perception is reality. They don't know what the roof is like. They don't know the deficiencies or anything else. They know exactly what David said. There's water on the floor. There's a safety issue. There's product that's being damaged. There's something along that side that's causing them to take action. And if we don't go in there, if we're not inquisitive enough, if we're not curious enough to be able to ask those questions, it's going to be detrimental to if we're actually going to be able to cross the 3 checkpoints that we have. Checkpoint 1, we talked about that, the urgency test last week. Do they actually need to act, right? Do they actually need to do something? Just because there's a stained ceiling tile doesn't mean they're going to do something about it. We've all walked into Taco Bell, seen the stained ceiling tiles, and known it has been there for a year. We can give them a proposal all day long. It doesn't mean they're actually going to do something. Checkpoint 2, do they actually need new and outside help? This is huge. This is what we're talking about today. Just because they'll accept a proposal from you, just because, yep, I got a stained ceiling tile. Yeah, if you guys want to give me a proposal for it, that's fine. If we're not doing the gap test, if we're not understanding truly where our value comes in, the proposal, I don't want to be super direct, but I am. There's a great potential that it's going to die because of one of those 5 fatalities that are connected into that. Checkpoint 3 is what we're going to go into next week. Do we have the best solution? Do you have the best solution? Because this is not about just going in and saying that you're a roofer. It's not about going in and saying that you guys just do it all and you're the best roofer here, because there is someone who specializes in delivering solutions specifically to the problem your customer has. Again, it's a fatality, guys. And if you're not checking those boxes, it is going to be detrimental. Now, everything we're talking about, we're not making you guys make up. We're not making you guys figure out, man, what questions do I need to ask? We have it all. We've been through this. David and I talk about the tools and resources that you guys have. Those 3 checkpoints, we got the questions that connect into it. We even give you guys the technology to where you guys don't have to write it down on a piece of paper and then transfer it into something else. We have an app that goes on your phone that's literally in your pocket, that allows you guys to be able to capture this information and figure out, is this problem, is this opportunity, it's probably the better word to use, one that I need to spend my time, my energy, and my company's money on. It's been proven that every opportunity that you guys quote that will never sell because you miss these checkpoints are taking hours and days out of your productivity every single month. So we talk about not enough time to be able to create the proposals we need, not enough time to be able to follow up, not enough time to be able to prospect. It can all be fixed, guys, and it can be fixed with 3 checkpoints that we're going through. David, you want to start us on the gap test, sir?
Yeah. All right, guys. So remember, if we can just put a plan of action in front of them, and that plan clearly details out the best solution that's going to help them solve the actual problems causing them the most pain and keeping them from important outcomes, they are going to choose you more often than not. Okay. It's a lack of action. It's just you trying to sell them stuff. They don't want to buy stuff. They don't. They want their problem solved, and they need a plan of action to be able to do that. This is the middle section of the buyer's action plan. Okay. So the first question will be, did I actually run the urgency test? Did I actually do it? Because if this is not a big enough problem, go ahead and stay up. If this is not a big enough problem to solve, we don't need to get into the gap test yet. Doesn't matter. Who cares? Who cares? You tell them. It doesn't sound like it's this is a big enough problem for you to solve right now. I know you probably have other things that you need to prioritize. How about I follow up with you in 60 days? Let's set a quick check-in meeting 60 days from now. I'll just see how everything is going. Bam. Set the touch point there. Set the appointment. 15 minutes from now, you've got a scheduled appointment with them for 15 minutes to check in to see how everything is going, to see if it has moved up on priority. Don't just keep mindlessly going through, hoping that this is going to close, guys. Don't do that. Come on, we're pros. You guys have the perfect sales week. You have the ability to generate enough activity so that you don't have to sling spaghetti at the wall. All right, so the urgency test, they passed it. This is a big enough problem for them to solve. Now we got to figure out the gap test. Do they have a gap in their existing resources, or do we just need to let them continue on with the family and the marriage that they're in? Great. Don't be a homewrecker, guys. Don't you dare be a homewrecker. You figure out if that marriage is rock solid or not. And if it's not, you help them. But if it is fine, you leave them alone and you go find somebody that needs your help. All right. First one is problem diagnosis. Are we aligned on the actual problems that need to be solved? It's a very first question. Now, what does that mean? When we go to problem diagnosis, this is not about what they think is going on. What's the bigger problem that needs to be solved? And guys, this usually aligns to what your company's special sauce is. What do you guys do really, really well? Okay, that's what you want to raise that problem up to. I know most people are going to say it's this. Actually, the bigger problem that you have going on is this and this, this. Now, you're just seeding that. You're not telling them that it's your specialty because you'll tell them later in checkpoint 3. But you're raising the level of problem so that you can then connect the dots later to your actual solution. Go ahead, Chen.
I want to give you guys an example of this because this is a huge, huge part. Everybody, I'm stereotyping, sorry, I'm going to do it, right? Every note that I read inside a CRM is they have roof leaks. They would like a proposal to be able to fix the roof leaks that's coming in inside the dining room. That tells me nothing. That tells me absolutely nothing. Did we actually do the work to understand, okay, what's the bigger problem, right? And we can go into our specialty, right? We're a commercial roofer. What happens when water gets inside a roof system? Well, number one, it can saturate the ISO, right? What happens when ISO gets saturated? Well, then all of a sudden the R value goes down. Now the heating and cooling of the building is going up. It can rust out the deck. And I'm just talking high level, not including the larger issue when it comes to roof leaks. Is a lot of times contractors are just going in and they're fixing the one hit. What's the special sauce that you guys have? How can you guys be better than every other contractor, every other roofer out there? How can you make sure that you're not going to be commoditized and that what you guys are offering is unique? That's the real question I'm asking you guys here. Is that if your customer sees a roof leak and he sees 3 roofing contractors come in and 3 separate proposals that show up that fix that roof leak, where are you guys special? Where do you guys offer anything unique other than the price? Remember, that's a fatality. Other than specifically what you do, right? Product fit, that's a fatality, guys. Other than competition, which is one of those 3 bids, which we're going through right now, is the guy that has done his roofing work for 5 years. That's what I'm talking about. So if any of those things ring a bell with you guys, this is what we're talking about.
It's such a big deal, guys. So like we've got some examples that we created here. Chad just went through some, but like what I typically see with these types of roof systems is basic maintenance items such as drains, sealants, and fasteners that fail over time due to age and UV exposure because they're not kept up correctly, because they're not kept up on the right schedule. They age a lot faster than they should. Bam, you guys know then when you guys present the solution, we're on top of this stuff. We know when they need to be maintenance, how they need to be upkept, etc. But now you've given them a bigger problem reframe. Okay. Now, if you guys want these problem reframes, we have about 7 of them just right out of the gates. Just reach out to Chad and we'll get them over to you. Okay. But you guys should already have these written down. These should be very specific. You guys know the problems that your clients are dealing with, whether it's TPO issues, metal roof issues, replacement issues, or leaks. You guys should have those down. You should have them practiced so that you can rattle them off, right? Doctors don't come in and give 700 different diagnoses, especially when they're specialists like we are as commercial roofers. They're going to come in, but if I go visit a shoulder doctor, they're going to come in. It's probably going to be one of 5 things, guys. The bigger issue you're dealing with is at your age, boom, you're having this issue.
True. It's so true, man. So I'm thinking about this. So I'm going to go roofer real quick with you, right? Mechanically attached EPDM roof. Anybody inside the north, you probably know. On the south, sorry. But think about it. What goes wrong with them? Number 1 is the seams. Number 2 is tinting. Right. And then all of a sudden, I mean, you know the common things that are happening with this. So you have to be able to have that problem reframe. Because again, your customer's perception is their reality. They see roof leaks. Well, a larger issue with an aging EPDM roof is that the seams begin to fail naturally because of, they're adhered and not welded like a TPO system. Right. Again, I know I'm going deep into this, guys, but like those are the things that are going to make you guys an expert in the room. Those are the things that are going to make you guys better and different than other contractors. And if you don't have those ready, if you don't have those available, and you're just going to listen and think about the roof leak that's on the floor, and you're just going to follow that path, guys, be prepared to be commoditized.
Huge. Go back to that. So like we'll just stay on this, guys, just for a little bit. It's just like, well, you have shoulder pain. Here's your treatment plan. I think we should do surgery. Wait, what? I just have shoulder pain. What do you mean I need surgery? What are you talking about? Versus what Chad was talking about. You should already know. No, actually, it's not just shoulder pain. The shoulder pain is actually being caused by debt. And this is the bigger issue. Going back into, we see it all the time. It's so funny. When we go through and we do the audit of these CRM systems, the number of voicemails that we see, the number of common notes that we see. I mean, it's just so repetitive, but it just shows that every prospect is getting the same conversation. I'm not getting anything different, guys. Chad says it all the time. We turn ourselves into a commodity. And when you're a commodity, they're just going to buy on price, guys. What are we doing? You have no long-term prospects of being extremely successful if you're just going to be a commodity sales rep. You have no way of actually increasing your numbers systematically and strategically. All right, so great presentations, great proposals are set up by great problem diagnosis. Okay, you got to do this first before you can actually do that. Just like we said, now that we've got the problem diagnosed, then and only then can we now understand what the expected outcomes are. This is where we talked about. This should be in and around the pain, the worst thing that's going to happen. But now we're going to quantify it on the expected outcomes. So now we're going to draw a dotted line. So now that you know what the issue is, let's talk about what when these potential business disruptions occur, what are the ripple effects? What is the ultimate cost of this? And if you can make this measurable, that's where you start to price anchor. That's where you start to give them the actual cost of a leak, not the cost of the repair, guys. Think about that. You want to be able to quantify the cost of the leak, not the cost of the repair. And the cost of the leak is almost always going to be more expensive than the cost of the repair. And when you give them $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 is the ultimate cost of this leak, and the cost of your repair is $8,000, you've now price anchored it. That $8,000 seems so small. But when you leave them to think that this is only going to be a $2,000 or $3,000 repair, and you slap an $8,000 repair proposal down in front of them, they get sticker shock. Why? Because you didn't do this. It's your issue. You could have prevented this death. You could have prevented this fatality, but we have to make it measurable. Go ahead, Jen.
I'm going to change one word that you said, and I know you didn't say that on purpose, but like it was not if. It's not if you can make it measurable, it's when you make it measurable. Everything has to have a measurable, guys. And this is a very, very hard part. Me personally, I had a very, very hard time. Now, I won't say learning, developing. I'm still inside the process of evolving, right? Whatever word we want to use, it's got to be measurable, because if your customer doesn't have anything to measure it against, it becomes basically this like, oh, wow, I didn't know it was going to be that much. Everybody on this call has delivered a roof replacement or some type of service job to say, wow, that's more expensive than I thought. They have no idea what's going on. And the worst case thing that you can do, and I've had this happen, is that I just replaced I'm making this up, but right, the owner just replaced his roof on his house for $12,000. And then you give him a $15,000 commercial service repair bid. And he's like, holy crap, $15,000. Why don't we just replace this thing? He has no idea that the roof is $250,000. If you do not make a measurable for this, if you don't make something to compare it so they can understand what they're protecting, let's just start there. How much is that asset worth? And investing in repairs or service or whatever it is that you're trying to do is ultimately protecting whatever that asset worth, right? Why do you change the oil in a car? Because you don't want to buy a $50,000 car. You know it's $50,000, right? That's all you're doing. It has to be measurable. This is a very, very hard part of this. And I'll tell you guys, I still continue to work on this, because you have to understand, if it's a restaurant, okay, when roof leaks happen, you have to drag a garbage can underneath this, and this part of the restaurant isn't able to be used for food. That is measurable, guys. How many chairs are not able to be used? How many people are there during lunch? If you now can't sit people there, what does that mean? I've went into restaurants many times with me and my family, and the wait was 30 minutes because of whatever issue it is. And guess what? I went somewhere else. That's immeasurable. Whatever your industry is, I don't care if you're in manufacturing, what happens when that part shuts down? I don't care if you're in processing, hospitals, what happens if you can't use somebody inside a surgery room? What if you can't use them and it's down? Everything has a measurable. It's a huge, huge part. You want to go from good to great, guys, it's right here.
You guys got to be curious. So there's two things I want to share with you. So first of all, for those of you guys that have taken our assessment, drivers, I'm a driver, this should be natural for you. We're logical. We like to think from a strategic perspective, and getting these numbers, you just got to be curious to do it. Okay. We have issues with the relationship side, with the emotional side. Okay. For you advocates out there like Chad, you're going to nail the emotional side. It's easier for you to nail the emotional side. Now it's a little bit harder for you to do this. So you just got to know your personality type, know which persona you are based on our assessment. And then this will help you understand where you got to lean in more. But guys, money loves speed. Money loves speed. So you have to know that. But people make decisions based on emotion, but they reinforce the decision that they want to make with logic. And if they want to make that emotional decision and they want to do it fast and the money's there, the one thing that's going to keep them from doing it is the logical rationale to move forward. And this is where it's going to fall down. You can think it's the hottest deal out there. Oh, these guys are sure going to close. They're piping hot. Oh, super, super painful. Bam. You didn't do this. Now all of a sudden they're like, I don't know if I can justify this. This didn't feel like a $22,000 fix. No, we'll look at this in 2 to 3 months. Can you reach back out to us? Okay, so remember that, guys. Money loves speed. People make decisions off of emotion, but they rationalize and justify those decisions off of logic. And we're trying to hit both sides of the brain here. Again, for those that actually need the help. All right, so once we're done with expected outcomes, now we can naturally, once we've quantified it, now we can figure out budget and timeline. And I know you guys run into problems with this all the time. This is actually one of the easiest conversations to get into. Wow, so this sounds like this is a $120,000 problem every time this happens. $120,000 every 3 months you guys are losing on vacancy rates in the hotel or whatever the thing is. Wow, okay. What kind of budget do you guys typically put aside to prevent this kind of cost? Not how much money can you spend so I can adjust my proposal and maximize how much money you're going to give me. It's now in tandem with the cost that they're incurring. Okay. And now this is where we always get into it. Chad, I want you to talk about this because we talk about this a ton, but this is where you guys should easily be able to get into. Are they reactive or are they proactive?
This is a massive, massive part of what every top sales rep understands. They understand how their client buys, when they buy, and it's ultimately, I'm going to make it super simple for you guys. It's 2 buckets, the reactive bucket or it's a proactive bucket. And there's one question that you can ask, especially when you're going through a customer who has a problem or a goal that they want to get. How do you guys budget for stuff like this? And when you ask the question, right? So do they handle them when they just come up? It's like, how do you guys prepare for something like this? It's that question. And that question and that answer, I should say, will give you everything that you need to know for how that customer is going to buy. Oh, we typically don't budget for stuff like this. I have to request the money from my boss. Oh, we do inspections once a year. And typically we look at that, and then that's how we set our budgets up. That one question, guys, will tell you everything you need to know about how that customer buys. And understanding that is so much bigger than this one opportunity. This is a customer business process that if it's raining and that's what it takes for them to be able to buy something, You need to document it. You need to put it down. You need to understand that. Now, if they're doing inspections and are doing some type of proactive side to be able to create a budget, do they have a budget? Right? Great question. How do you budget for something like this? It gets you the answers to everything you need, and you can put them inside one of two buckets, right? And once they have the problem, is do they want to be more proactive? Do you guys want to be on a plan that can ultimately help reduce these massive failures from happening? I can assume you don't like these. I can assume these suck, right? And again, they'll answer that question, but you guys have to position the question to be able to get them to talk about it in a way that they don't feel pressured. Nobody wants to be sold a preventative maintenance agreement, guys. Nobody. But if it helps them achieve something, they'll love it. They'll like it. They'll do it. But only if it aligns to the problem or goals that they have. Really, really easy way to be able to find out a lot about how your customer buys without even, again, I don't care what your budget, I don't care what it is. How did you get it? Be curious, be inquisitive. It's going to help you guys so much in understanding the long-term play with your customers.
From there, guys, now we can figure out what their gap in ability is. Do they have the internal resources or the existing resources to actually solve this or not? And that's actually really simple. Now that they know what the actual problem is, now that we've talked about all the things that they've tried to do and why they haven't worked, now that they understand the potential cost of the problem, why haven't you been able to solve this yet? Why do you feel like Bill, the maintenance guy, hasn't been able to figure this out yet? Why do you think the Flex Seal isn't working? Why do you think your existing roofer hasn't been able to figure this out yet?
The amount of importance of this, guys, is I can't even begin to explain it to you, because every sales rep that I work with, and that's really mean to be able to say, and I'm stereotyping again, but you take the opportunity and you run with it. It's like, oh man, yeah, okay, they have to do something, and I got the scope of work that they want to do, and I'm going to hurry up and get it over there. I'm going to estimate it. I'm going to get the proposal to them as fast as I can. No. Why am I here? You guys have a roofer. You guys have done 3 different sections here. Why are you asking for another bid? Oh, corporate requires us to get multiple bids. You guys have to ask this question. Do not run and go create the proposal and create the bid and do all the work that it takes for you guys to be able to send the proposal off if you don't know exactly what's happening. It's going to hurt you guys in the long term. It's going to result inside you guys following up with people that never respond to you, or they're going to tell you you lost that deal because of one of those 5 fatalities when we could have stopped it right here. How many times I've been in a situation where they say, hey, I have a project. You can give me a bid by next week. We're awarding this pretty quick. And a salesman runs to me and says, dude, I got a job that's going next week. If I can get a bid back for this, we could possibly win the project. Trust me, this job has been going a lot longer than a week. You are the 3rd bid when 2 others are already there, and he needs 1 more to be able to award it to the guy that he wants. Sorry to be able to be that guy that rains on the parade, but I'm going to tell you 99% of the time, that's what happens. And I get so much more out of the relationship to be able to say, do you want me just to give you a throwaway number? That way I can have enough time to put together a competitive bid for you. And yes, I might be walking away from an opportunity that I could have bid, that I could have put on my sales board to make me look great. But I also saved myself hours and days worth of follow-up that would have got me nowhere. And I still gave my customer what they needed. They needed 1 more job to be able to award it, and I knew that I could not get the most competitive price with the best solution that made me unique in that time frame. So much comes behind that, guys. So much. So what we went through today is what happens in everybody's book of business. I don't care who you are or what your book of business has. We miss the gap test, guys. And I'm not going to go through my long story, but I'm going to tell you there have been companies, real world here, that have told me they would shut the business down before they did that project. I have had companies that told me I would move, I would buy a new building before I did this project. That stuff is real. I know companies that once a proposal gets over X amount of dollars, they would just rather replace the roof. I know companies that replace the roof every single year based upon how old it is. I know manufacturing plants that do 1 section a year because that's what their budget allows them to do. And if they have other projects going on, if they have other things, I can give you stories for days, guys. But let me tell you something. There's another roofer there. And if you're not figuring out why that gap is there, you guys will fail to one of the fatalities unless you're the best price. And I really, really hope that if you guys are the best price, that you guys have the profitability and everything else. And I hope that the other contractors are walking away from the project. That's not how we want to win. We don't want to make a sale. We want to gain a customer. And that's what's going to make you guys successful. That's what's going to turn you into a 7-figure sales rep. That's what's going to help you guys have that 8-figure service division. It's integrity. It's doing the right thing. It's being that trusted advisor. This is what's going to help you get there. It's the gap, guys. It's the gap. It's the problem. Is the prospect's problem big enough to act? Right? We got to figure that out. That's your first step. That fatality is going to be timing, because if their problem's not big enough to act, they're never going to award it. No one is going to win it. I don't care who's bidding the project. No one's going to win it, including you. And what's going to happen is it's going to sit inside your book of business, just like every opportunity that you have in your book of business right now that is months old. Because at the end of the day, that proposal probably has been void after 30 or 60 days anyway. You just don't want to admit it to yourself. Again, I'm going to be that person here, right? Are they actually going to choose a new vendor? Are they actually going to choose a new provider? Are they just going to go who they want to go? Right? That's going into the fatalities, the timing, the competition, the price. Are they actually going to go with someone new, or are you just bid number 2 or 3? You guys got to figure that out, right? Do the gap test. That's what we're here. This is a war, guys, that we have to be able to win. The sales reaper is there. The fatalities are real. And we're showing you guys how this connects into the business and how you guys can be a better trusted advisor, how you can win more jobs. And at the end of the day, all I want from you guys is to lose less jobs. That's it. Lose less jobs. If we can do that, we can win. There's a strategy behind it, and this is part of it. Get that gap test, guys. Put it together. Use. Remember the one I told you at the beginning? One piece. I don't care what it is. Take one piece from what we did and change that inside your sales presentation later today, tomorrow, or whatever it is. That's my win. That's my give back to you guys. That's my give back to the industry. Mr. Bonnie, anything you want to close out with?
Go implement it, guys. Change the outcome of your deals. Change the outcome of your opportunities. That's the difference between the best sales reps, the ones that are mid, and the ones that are struggling.
Mr. Bonnie, navigate the storm.
Doing it. You keep doing it. I'm not giving you any more designs until I make shirts first. Unbelievable.
It's coming. I'm going to wear all the shirts. That way you can see them and I'll see it. But we got that. It's live. It's real. Guys, I love everybody that joins. Thank you. Thank you. Take something from this. Use it. And I'll see you guys soon.
See you
Have
guys.
a good one. Later.